As of today, there has been loads and loads of live action Batman, and with that, of course, live action Batman costumes. So, before the DCU kicks off and gives us their take on the Brave and the Bold, the Batman himself, I thought we'd go through 21 versions of the live action Batman suits and rank them from least favourite to favourite, in my opinion. Now, that is something you're probably going to hear me say multiple times throughout this video, because that's what it is, my opinion. If you have a different one, that's absolutely fine, and I'm more than happy for you to leave it down in the comments so I can have a look through it and tell you why you're wrong. I'm only joking, of course. Your opinion is your opinion. You're valid to have it. More power to you. But yeah, I'm sure you've all seen videos like this on YouTube, so I'm not going to sit here explaining all the details when it's quite simply just a ranking video. I will break down, obviously, why I think they place there, and then we'll just move forward. So, starting at number 21, we have... Realistically, this one is basically an honourable mention. Titan's Batman suit is not really an actual Batman suit, but it is perfect for what it was used for, and that is for an in the shadows lurking Batman figure that you never really see up close and with good lighting. I honestly think this suit actually isn't that bad, but considering it's not really, as we said, an official Batman suit, it doesn't have a logo on it, I feel like I can't respectfully place it any higher. So I thought I'd at least put it on the list and put it right here. Now at number 20, I know for a fact I'm going to get some flack for this, but as I said at the beginning of the video, this is my opinion. Let me state that one more time for the people at the back, it is my opinion. The Dark Knight suit is just not it for me. I honestly think it's glorified motorbike gear. I don't really like the over-designed armor look of it all, and I think it just looks kind of cheap for something that is clearly not. And it's not great for me. There's a lot of things that I don't like about it, whether that be the small bat logo. I know it's obviously meant to start to resemble the Batarangs in this movie, but I don't like the idea of a small bat logo that small, and it's just, it doesn't really resemble any of the ones from the comics. Someone's obviously going to come down in the comments and tell me, well, actually it resembles this one. That's fair, but I don't like it. It's not for me. I would honestly prefer to put it at 21, because to me, I really don't like it. It's my least favourite Batman suit, but I think that's disrespectful to Titans, as well as the trilogy that is the Dark Knight series. It's not personally my favourite, but to say that it's not a great thing towards cinema would be an absolute lie. So I can't sit here and put it at 21. It's too rude. It's way too rude. And yes, before somebody comes along and like, it looks like motorbike gear because it's supposed to be realistic. Yes, I understand that it's supposed to be realistic, but there is another realistic take on a Batman suit, which I'm sure you're all aware of what I'm talking about, but that comes much, much, much later in this list, and there is a reason for it, and I will discuss it when I get to that point. So let's move along to number 19, which is... I love this show so much. It is such an amazing show, but when it comes to the bat suit that we got in the last episode, it's just so-so. That being said, if I'm being completely truthful with myself, I honestly think it's on par with The Dark Knight Rises, which is the reason that I've put it above it. The things that I like more of this suit than I do of the TDK suit. And for example, I really like the belt. I think it's really cool. I don't really like the fact that there's no colour. This is an ongoing thing throughout this that you're going to see. I really don't like the all black suits, but the belt design is just a lot cooler to me. The fact that there's a little bat logo on it, I think that's just cool. I think that's always cool when Batman's just kind of got like two logos, one on the chest, one on the belt. I think the cape also looks really sick. I like the idea that it kind of tucks into the logo, and I know that there is a comic book reference that would be quite good for this, but I just can't think of the issue. And above all else, I just kind of respect what they did with what they had and what they were allowed to do. For anyone that doesn't know, Batman on TV series, whether that be Titans, Gotham, or the Arrowverse, they weren't really allowed to do it, so they were allowed to do suits, and sometimes him himself, under very strict rules. And considering that, I still think it looks pretty good. But that takes us to number 18, and it does pain me to say it that a Batfleck suit comes this low, but I think we all know what I'm going to say. And that, of course, is the Batfleck suit from The Flash. This suit has such great potential. I love the fact that the blue and grey is back together. I just think it's such an iconic colour scheme, but it's over-designed to hell. There's still things that I like about it more than I like the previous ones, which is obviously why it's gone a little bit higher. Ultimately, this one is kind of the BVS suit with a different colour on it and some extra stuff chucked on top of it just for the sake of selling toys, which is going to be a running theme throughout this. But I wouldn't lie, the minute I saw it in behind the scenes, I thought, I hate that. It's kind of simmered with me for 2 years, And every time I see it now, every single time, I like it a little bit more. I still don't love it. It's never going to hit top 10, I can promise you that right now. But there's something about it that I quite like, and I think it's just because I love Ben Affleck as Batman. Anyway, so let's move on to 17, which is... Now this suit here is not the best by a long shot, not at all. But the one thing I will say is everything that came before this needs a lot more work done to it before it even be acceptable. This one, realistically, if you remove or repaint all of the silver, apart from the Bat logo, which you can paint or you could leave, I think this suit is actually quite fire. I don't love it. There's something, I think it's just the colours that I don't really love. It's over-designed, of course. But if you painted it black, it would no longer really be over-designed. It would be like the lining, but it would be thin lining. I think there is potential in this suit, which is why I've placed it. The one thing that I absolutely hate about this suit, and a suit that comes up next, is the ears on the cowl. They're awful. I don't get it. I don't get whose idea that was. This is what I hate about over-designed costumes, is there's just lines for the sake of lines. It doesn't even make sense. There's just no need for it to be there. But as I said, with a little bit of tweaking, this suit could really hit. I also do love the fact that it's clearly a special purpose suit, and at least it has that feel to it. At number 16, we have, and going off of everything I just said about the suit before, this suit was before that, and it was better than that. This is what I mean. This is the ongoing theme that I was speaking about. They like to just add shit on so they can sell toys, and it's not good. Stop doing it. Or just, there is a perfect example of being able to do this and still keeping the original idea at its core, and that comes later on. And I think that's what Warner Brothers, Marvel, anything that is doing this, every time they want to do a new movie, they slightly change their characters. This is what you need to do, because this is perfect. I will discuss it later though. But yeah, as I said, this one is all black, so it looks 10 times better. It is still massively over-designed, but there's something about this design that is just a little bit cooler to me. Now, I don't really know what that is. I've looked at them both, and it just seems nicer. I don't know if I just prefer Val Kilmer to George Clooney. I'm not too sure, but it is what it is. Number 15. Number 15. Yes, even with the bat nipples, say what you will, this suit's actually quite cool. I don't really care what anybody says. I know that there's a lot of negative vibes towards George Clooney. I just made a comment myself, and the movie that he's in, but I do think this suit is actually really, really cool. Apart from, if you remove the bat nipples and you change the colour ever so slightly, I think the suit would be really cool. And it's just extremely Batman. Like, the cowl is absolutely perfect. I actually don't have a single issue with the cowl on this suit. I also think the cape, the way that comes round and loops through, I think that's really cool. The logo is my absolute favourite thing about this suit and the Val Kilmer suit. That is probably my favourite Batman logo of all time. If I really break it down to bare bones, I think there's only 2 issues with this suit. And that is 1 and 2. Enough said. And at number 14, we have the predecessor. We have Batman Begins suit. How the hell is the starter suit better than the suit that's meant to come after it, and is the suit that Bruce ends on? This suit is 10 times better than the TDK suit. I don't care what anybody says. This one is so simple. It is just, if you're going to do a black suit, this is what I want to see. There is only one thing that the Dark Knight Rises suit has over this, and it's the cowl. The cowl is 10 times better. I'll give them that now. The cowl on the Batman Begins suit is chunky around the neck, and it just feels kind of loose. But if you put those two together, I think you'd have a really good Batman suit for this universe. Still wouldn't be my favourite, but I think it would be really cool. The Bat logo. Why would you change from something so glorious to something so small and puny? I don't get it. At number 13, we have a less traditional Batman suit, which is why I've put it at number 13. The actual next 2 to 3 suits are here because I couldn't honestly put them in the top 10 list because they're not traditional Batman suits, and I feel like that's kind of unfair because the Nightmare suit is fucking awesome. This is so cool. The trench coat, the goggles, everything about it is sick. Even the gun is cool. The only thing that could have made this suit better is if Batman didn't kill throughout the movie anyway, and then the only time he kills is in this Nightmare scene. That's what would have made this suit better. But the reason that I can't put it up there is, as I just stated, it's not a traditional Batman suit. You're never going to see Batman running around in this for multiple movies. This is a dream sequence, maybe even a one movie hit, and then you're done. You can't have Batman running around in this, not unless they change the character completely in the comics and people loved it. I honestly don't think that's ever going to happen though. And I wouldn't want it. As you're going to see from the rest of my list, there is a certain vibe that I like for Batman. And anyone who knows Batman suits has probably worked it out already, considering we're more than halfway through the list, and there are certain suits that probably would have come already. So now we have number 12. All I can say is, this suit is bad fucking ass. I love this. It's so fucking cool. It's ripped straight out of the comics. Now, I know when I say that, I don't mean, oh, it's a perfect interpretation of that. I mean, they took it, knew what they had to do to rework it to make it look amazing in live action, and they succeeded. Again, the only reason this isn't higher up on the list is because it's not a traditional Batman suit. The armored suit is it is an Easter egg. It is an Easter egg within itself, and it's so cool, and it is just such a nice throwback. I remember when I first saw it, and I thought it just looked fucking amazing. There's only two things I don't like about it. I've obviously read The Dark Knight, and I've seen images of that version of it. I don't really like the ears, how they kind of like just cut off, and they don't really go up, or they're short at all. They just kind of cut off, which I don't love. And there's no logo. I know there's no logo in the comic book either, but I love a Bat logo. He's Batman. Slap that shit on there. Now that brings us to number 11, and we're getting very close to the top 10. And I know for a fact multiple people are disagreeing with me already. It's not going to get any better for you, I'll be completely honest. It's my list, and I love these suits for a reason. As I said, number 11. Say what you will about the old-fashioned suits. Anytime I've seen somebody do one of these lists on live-action Batman suits, they always say, I'm not going to include these two because they're not as good as the other ones, and that wouldn't be fair. I don't think that's true for starters, but also in those lists, people proceed to bring up Adam West, which is basically the same thing. Don't get me wrong, Adam West's costume is much better than these two, but you can't say I'm not going to include the old-fashioned ones and then proceed to include Adam West. That logic doesn't make any sense. But without further ado, I'd like to talk about the Robert Lowry suit. Now, I actually really like this suit, which is why it's so high up compared to some modern suits. But there's obviously one of these that is better. It clearly is. Like, I don't care if you're a Batman fan or not. If you put these two side by side, everyone is picking one. I don't. But out of the three of these like old-fashioned skimpy suits, this is definitely the worst. It loses bits that the original one that came before it had, and it is not as designed and quality made as the one that comes after it. So it is definitely the third of the three. That's why it's number 11, and it doesn't get to hit number 10. Talking of number 10, here we go. We finally made it. After all my rambling about shit that really doesn't matter. We've hit number 10, still doesn't matter. Let's go. Now you may be thinking, he's just done one of the suits that is very similar to another suit, so surely he's going to do that one here. That's where you'd be wrong. And there's something I probably should have said at the beginning of this video, and who knows, maybe I'll edit it and put it at the back. Probably won't, I'm probably going to leave it right here, because why the fuck not? Proves that you were watching the whole way through. I'm very weird when it comes to suits, and the slightest little detail that can make or break the suit, not just by 1 or 2 places, by 5 or 6 places, and that is something you're probably going to notice when I get to the top 5. Now, number 10, we have, I personally think Keaton's second movie suit isn't that great. I still like it obviously more than anything that's come before this, and I know that it's like heavily praised, but there's things about it that I really don't like. I love the colours. I think the black and the yellow really pop and it really works. I'm fine with that. I don't like the armor plates. How like it's a 6-pack, but it's not a 6-pack. Kind of looks like a robot chest. He looks like Bender from Futurama. Yeah, don't like it. The cowl is awful. It's really not good. I don't know if they were going for more of like a comic booky, cartoony look. Because at that sort of time in the comics, whenever you see Batman's silhouette, it kind of does look like that. But when you can have lighting and detail on it and it's live action, it doesn't work. And obviously it's a notorious meme about how he couldn't turn his neck in it. And that's not even the only fault with it. It just doesn't look good. I don't understand why they did that. Especially when at number 9 we have, and it did the cowl so much better. What changed? Why did they decide, oh, you know what, the cowl looked better, we think we can make the neck better, we can't, and it looks awful. Why are we sticking with this? I don't get it. But the reason that both of these place here, not the only reason, of course, I think they both look kind of cool, is my man is wearing J's. You gotta respect it. Batman is stepping out, fighting crime in the Jordans. That's respect. That's number 10 level. Following the pattern of the original being better than the sequel, it's just leagues ahead. It clearly is. The simple fact that the armor is at least human looking and it doesn't look like some robot shit, I like that. The belt is pretty much the same, the logo's the same, and it's a fucking damn good logo. The one thing I will say, and I don't know if anyone has noticed this, the logo very clearly has like these 3 little bits coming off the bottom of the bat, but whenever they use the Keaton logo in merchandise or anything, it doesn't look anything like this, and it just confuses me. I don't know why. Like, why are you trying to make out that this is his logo when actually this is his logo? It's food for thought. Not really, but we digress. At number 8, we have another armoured Batman suit, and there's a lot of them. There's quite a few armoured Batman suits, to be completely honest. But this one, I actually really like. I only really have one fault with it. I remember when I first saw it in the trailer, I didn't think I was going to like it at all, but in universe, out of universe, it looks really cool. It makes sense as to why he's using it, alien invasion and all, compared to some other suits where man's just wearing armor for the sake of wearing armor, like in the Flash movie. He's fighting normal criminals. Why has he got all that armor on? He's got more armor on than he does now. Make it make sense. Anyway, my only one gripe with this suit is the cowl. Again, it looks weird. It looks too head shaped now. And I know that's me being so particular, considering I just said the Keaton one looks really like he's got no neck, and then the first one is actually a little bit better because it looks a bit more rounded, and then this one's too rounded. But this just go with me. Just let me cook, okay? And at number 7, yes, we have the Wilson suit. I think this suit is 10 times better than the Lowry suit, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's the same thing. It's not. There are actually quite a few details about it that are very different. The cowl, for starters, is 10 times better in the original. I don't know why, it just looks like it's better shaped, there's better quality to it, and it looks like it actually kind of stands on its own, where the ears on the Lowry suit kind of look like they had to put them up. They fell down like every couple of takes and then put them back up again. I don't like that. The Bat logo, surprisingly, I prefer the smaller one. I think it just looks neater, the proportions are better, and it's way better placed on the chest. The bigger one just kind of looks a bit awkward, and it's not even up high, it's kind of like in the middle, and yeah, I don't like it. And another big thing that I hope a lot of people notice, because I think it's quite obvious, the Wilson suit's belt has just got a lot more detail. It actually looks like a utility belt. There's like little sections and stuff, whereas the one in the Lowry thing is very clearly flat, and it just doesn't have anything going on with it. Why? Just use the same suit at that point. I don't really get it. But yeah. So moving on. And at number 6, before we break that top 5 Batman suits, I've got to include an absolute icon, a legend, the goated Batman himself, and that of course is Adam West. Now, I think there's so many reasons this suit deserves to be here. One, the colours are fucking perfect. The design itself is actually really cool. I know that everyone's going to be like old-fashioned, and yeah, that's fine. It is old-fashioned, you're exactly right. But for the time, that's fucking good. It looks cool, it looks perfect, it looks ripped out of the comics. And one thing I will say is, the reason that this place is exactly where it needs to be is my fiance proved it herself when I was showing her my list, and she was kind of just having a look through it. She even pointed at this suit and she said, that is how I picture Batman. And that I honestly think that's how a lot of people picture Batman. Whether it's Adam West himself in that suit, or whether it is the comic or cartoon versions of this suit, it is iconic. It is like the Batman look, outside of the whole like all black Batman look, which I really don't like, that a lot of people that aren't really in the nerd space will know. And I love that. I think he deserves to be here for that simple fact alone. But now we have the main attraction, the top contenders, my top 5 favourite Batman suits in live action DC history. And kicking off that list, we have another armoured Batman suit at number 5. But this one is way more subtle, and that is exactly why it deserves to be here. Now, I spoke about this earlier, about the whole fact that they clearly changed suits slightly to sell toys. This suit is the perfect example on how to do that. It channels everything from the BVS Batman suit, but it slightly adds little platings of armor to make it a little bit different. The color of the actual clothing and suiting itself is clearly darker. but it's ever so darker. So in some scenes, I feel like a lot of people might not even be able to tell that it's a different suit. Again, the cowl is different. It is. And I think that slight change for me would have put it a little bit higher in my top 5. The BVS cowl is just perfection. I look at it and I just see Batman. But we're not talking about that right now. We'll get there. Don't you worry. But yeah, again, it's like, this makes sense to me in story-wise. He was in BVS, he was Batman, he'd been Batman for years, there was never really anyone like Superman. He met Superman, and then in the next movie we see him in, he's made adjustments to his basic suit, so if he ever ran into someone like Superman, he hasn't got to run to the Batcave, drive to the Batcave to put on some big bulky armour, when don't get me wrong, this suit is not helping him against Superman, he's not winning that fight, but he's better protected to at least detect how strong this person is the first time, to give him that prep time to come back next time and know how he's going to beat that person, and I love that. And then number 4, 2023 suit. I personally love this compared to the original 2. Now, obviously I'm not going to get into the whole, well, one was made back then and this one was made now, so obviously it's going to be better. I don't think that's always true. As you can tell from my list, there are suits that have come out years ago and they are higher than suits that come out 30 years ago. And there's things about this that just channel the 80s and the 90s, and that's what I love about it. I do like the fact that they've changed the belt. I think it just looks a lot cooler, as well as the gauntlets. They just look really cool. The cowl shape is 10 times better, and I'm just so happy for him. It looks so much more comfortable than any of the other suits that he had to sit in for multiple hours, multiple days, multiple weeks. He just looks like he's having a good time, and I'm happy for him, and that's why he places number 4. Number 3. Now, for any real Batman fans, you're probably thinking, there's a suit that this man's missed, or I swear to God he better not put it this high. And I have. That's what I've gone and done. I've put Val Kilmer's suit at number 3. I don't care what any of you say. I know you will like it, but you put the George Clooney one at number, I can't remember now, but at number 17, something like that. Yeah, and there's differences, and those differences is what put it at number 3. I said this when I talked about the George Clooney suit. The logo, the simple fact of adding yellow just makes it pop so much more, and it's fucking amazing. The simple fact that it's all black, it's not some weird blue tone colour, it looks perfect. It looks like something Batman would actually wear, and whether or not you like the whole Greek statue look, you can't lie and say this doesn't look fucking cool. The only thing that could make this suit better is if it had white eyes. I honestly truly think that the only thing that can make this suit better is that it has white eyes. I think this suit looks like they perfectly interpreted the Batman Inc. suit, and that was before Batman Inc. was even a thing. This suit's perfect, and I love it, and it will stay here for a while unless it suddenly for some reason becomes my top favourite. It's never dropping past the 10 because I think it looks fucking amazing. And that's all of everything I've said about all black suits. The simple fact of adding yellow on the belt and here, it's skyrocketed it. And it is probably the only all black suit that is ever going to make it this high on my list, but I really like it. I really do. It actually makes me happy to look at. Maybe it should be my number 1. Moving on. And number 2. We spoke about this earlier. This is the realistic Batman suit. This is a suit I can see a man building, whether he be a billionaire or not. This is a suit that an actual person could build without some massive tech company building a suit, and it's very obvious that you're clearly Batman. This man could have easily made this suit on his own, and there's one simple thing about it that puts it this far ahead the Dark Knight Rises suit, and that is the simple fact that the utility belt is actually a utility belt. The belt in those suits is very clearly just for aesthetic. It's just kind of there. There's no like pouches. And I know there's probably someone's going to be like, there's this scene where he pulls this out. I don't care. They're not real. They're not real pouches. Whereas in the Batman, you can see he's got handcuffs hanging. You can see all the different pockets. You can even see the clasps. Like, you know for a fact that's a real belt, and it's perfect. I like the fact that all the lines that on other suits is just over-designed actually have a reason for being there. Like, the body armor is very clearly actual armor plating. The shoulder pads or again, actual shoulder pads, and the lining on the trousers is only because of the pockets and their actual like cargo trousers. Like this is a very cool, realistic take on a Batman suit. The only reason this isn't my number one, actually there's two reasons this isn't my number one. One, it's not my number one, and it's just simple as that. But two, it's an Elseworld take on a Batman suit, and that's how I'm always going to see it. It's the Batman, but it's not my Batman. And that brings us to number one. Today's winner of this competition that is completely irrelevant to anybody outside of my head. Yeah. Again, I stress, this is my opinion, is the BVS suit. This suit is absolute perfection in my head. Like, it really is. Everything about this suit, I love it. I don't think I have a single fault with this suit. As I said before, I love the cowl shape. I think it's absolutely perfect. The fabric and material that the cowl and the cape are made out of is just really cool. It doesn't look like some other suits where the cowl and the cape are very clearly two different things. The colour scheme is perfect. The grey and black has never looked so fucking good on a Batman suit. And don't get me wrong, when this first got announced, I wasn't a massive fan of the logo, but I've even come around on the logo. I think it just looks fucking cool. Especially with the whole Absolute Batman coming out, I think it's kind of sick that he's like the Frank Miller / Absolute Batman. And yeah, it just looks really cool. The utility belt looks good. It looks like it actually has compartments for anything. Not so much as the Batman, but it's still cool. And another thing I really love about the BVS suit is from up close you can see there's so many details. There's damage marks. It just looks really fucking cool. And then the minute you kind of like take a step back and look from it, it looks really like simple and classic looking, like the animated series, which I absolutely love. Everything down from the tip of the ears, the short ears, which I didn't think I would like, but I actually love, to the bottom of his shoes. I just love them. I love it. Sometimes I get lost just looking at it. I just melt. It makes me wonder how James Gunn is planning to top this in The Brave and the Bold, because in my head I can't even begin to fathom a costume that is better than this one. And a lot of people like that's being a bit dramatic, like there's always going to be a better suit. I'm worried. I really am. I think there's only two things, after looking back at my list and thinking, what do I really like from other suits that could maybe add to this suit? There's only two things. One of them I didn't mention, but if I ever do something to do with comic book Batman suits, I will, because it is one of my favourite looks in any Batman series, and that is purple gloves. I think they look fucking sick, and I'm going to show a picture here where they just look badass. We need those. I think if you do the purple gloves, and the second thing, which is the yellow logo instead of this big bat, the yellow incorporated logo could look fucking sick in the grey, black and purple colour scheme. That is the only thing that could make James Gunn's version better for me. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he does it. Looking at his take on the Superman costume, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes little bits here and there and puts them together. Because the overall design, the overall fabrics of the Ben Affleck suit is absolutely perfect. The logo and the belt from the Val Kilmer suit is perfection. The purple gloves needs to be brought in for the first time in a live action Batman, just to be that little bit different. I think that would be really cool. And to be honest, the more I went through this list, the more I was like, I really don't know if I want to see Batman in trunks or not. I think it works better on Superman because he's that sort of corny, go-lucky character that it really works for him. But I think given the right material, it could work for Batman too. I think they'd have to be way more like booty shorts, like a lot skimpier. Which sounds weird to say when talking about Batman, but it's true. As I said at the beginning of this video, this has all been my opinion. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, do it down in the comments. Maybe don't go through all 21 down in the comments below, but feel free to tell me at least your top 5 favourite Batman suits of all time. And tune in next time.